So I was in film school for 3 years, specialized in cinematography.
Is it worth it? Can you learn it from YouTube, guys?
I was one of the lead YouTubers covering. So the healing journey is not just something that I'm motivational speaker बनना है, ऐसा नहीं है.
Bro, what are you doing? You are supposed to cut once every 2 seconds, man. What are you doing? One of my New Year resolutions for 2025 is to meet new creators and collaborate with them. And this show is exactly how I bring all that knowledge to you guys. So we can get newer perspectives, newer techniques, and we all can become better creators together. Alright, hello. Welcome to episode number 2 of our show where we bring creators and make them break down their own videos. I ask them questions, very tough questions indeed. And today we have with us Tejas, who is an excellent creator. So I was talking to him on the internet a few days back, and he flew in from all the way from Singapore for this. I'm kidding, but he was flying to India for a wedding, and we thought we could meet, and then we thought we could record this. Why not? So this is how it's going to go. First, we're going to get a little introduction from Tejas. So please.
Thank you for having me, first of all.
Definitely.
So I've been a creator for quite a few years. I think 7 years ago was when I first started dabbling into videography. But it was around 2 years ago when I started to really pursue a career in YouTube. And that's where I've been posting videos on YouTube under the banner Healing Energy, which is the name of my playlist as well, which is where I post videos which are along the healing journey sort of line of path.
Yep.
Where it's self-development, mindfulness, productivity kind of videos.
I think I came across your content a few months back. That is when I reached out to you, like, bro, amazing videos.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're so criminally underrated. Like, you guys think I am underrated? Look at this guy. Go and watch his channel. I'll leave all his links in the description. So, again, coming back to your story, you got into all of this, and you're also from a film background academically as well, right?
Yes, that's
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I would say that I was self-taught for a while. The first 4 years, 3 to 4 years of me dabbling into videography, I was self-taught. I did YouTube on my own. I learned how to edit, how to shoot videos through YouTube as well. But then at the same time, I was doing engineering actually for a year. And
Oh, you were? That I did not know.
yeah.
Everyone is an engineer on this podcast. Everyone I encounter as a filmmaker, na? Everyone is an engineer by heart. But please, continue.
So I did engineering for a year and I was not really feeling into it. So I told my parents that I want to quit, I want to pursue something else. And they were the ones who told me, like, why not do something film related? Because I did have a passion for film back then. So then I looked up some institutes and there was one in Mumbai, which I eventually got admitted to. And so I was in film school for 3 years, specialized in cinematography. I would say that experience of having gone to a film school honed my skills that I already had. It didn't add on to any new skills whatsoever. It just made me a better filmmaker, I would say. And I, most importantly, got exposure to so many other like-minded individuals and creatives who were also on the same life trajectory that I was going through. So that was one of the biggest pluses of being in a film school. More than the skill, it was, I would say, gaining new friendships and contacts.
Makes sense, because that was the next question. As soon as anyone hears film school, the next question has to be, is it worth it? Can you learn it from YouTube, guys? But yeah, I think you summed it up very well. I think it's a similar outlook for me going to an IIT as well. People think, oh, you're going to learn so much, you're going to learn so much coding and all of that. It's not. Everything I learned is self-taught.
Yeah.
But the people you get,
Yeah.
that makes the whole experience worth it. All the 4 years in my case, 3 years in your case. But beautiful. So after that, you moved back to Singapore.
Yes, so I graduated 2022 September. That was my last project that I submitted. And then I moved back to Singapore. That is my home. That's my base. I was born and brought up there. So I wanted to build some contacts in Singapore as well, so that I always have something to fall back on.
Makes sense.
In case working overseas doesn't work out for some reason. So I have been in Singapore for the past 2 years. I have worked on a few projects, Singapore local based production houses and stuff. But I would say that I have not found creative fulfillment in
That's why
working.
YouTube.
That's why YouTube. So YouTube is a platform where I'm able to create without any boundaries, so to speak.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. You're in every question that I ask, you're already covering the next question. That's not good. My next question on why you started doing YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. That all you have already covered. So let's understand. You started making videos on YouTube. You were already making videos before this as well. How did you choose the genre around the healing journey or the healing energy?
Yeah.
How did you choose that?
Okay, that's a great question. Um, in my initial few days when I first started out on YouTube, I was doing gaming content actually.
same.
So I was influenced by a Pokemon Go creator called Nick Trainer Tips. He's more well known as that. He has close to 1 million subscribers just by doing Pokemon Go videos. So he was one of the best, if not the best, Pokemon Go creators out there. And through him, I got inspired to make my own videos. And the same company that made Pokemon Go made a Harry Potter version of it called Wizards Unite. And that I was one of the lead YouTubers covering that game, which only lasted for a very short while, unfortunately.
I see.
But Harry Potter being a big part of my life as well, I was immediately drawn towards that game. So I was doing very gaming related content initially, but similar reasons to what I explained earlier, working in Singapore, there was not much creative fulfillment that I was achieving. And unfortunately, around the same time, about a couple of years ago, I went through a bit of a tough breakup. That wasn't the only reason, but I was going through a lot of changes in life as well. I just graduated, I was looking for jobs, financially, I was feeling the strain. So, a lot of different factors were happening in my life concurrently. And I think that's the reason why I felt the need to have a creative outlook where I want to create art the same way I'm consuming things in my life. So the healing journey is not just something that I'm, showing on my videos because motivational speaker banna hai. Aisa nahi hai. It's actual things that I'm actually going through in my life. And if you look through the whole playlist, there's about 40 plus videos now. You will be able to see the progression of how I've gone from where I was a couple of years ago to where I am right now. And yeah, that's what the healing journey has been about.
Got it, got it. So one thing I would like to pinpoint, I think we should get to know our guests a little well. Is the other tattoo also a Harry Potter reference?
No, I'm not sure if this is visible, but it says made of magic. It's not Harry Potter related.
Okay.
So this I got also very related to my healing journey as well. 2023 was a pretty shitty year for me, and going through 2023 was one of the toughest phases of my life ever. And I had stopped believing in my gut. I was pretty much in depression, not clinically diagnosed or anything, but it felt very much like it. So I was at my lowest of lows. But when I started my healing journey and when I started applying all the values that I was preaching about in my videos, I started to notice a change in my behavior and my outlook on life, and I started becoming a better person. And so I wanted a reminder, a permanent reminder that no matter what happens in life, I should always trust my gut and I should always do what I feel is right. And this tattoo called Made of Magic is literally a reminder to myself every single day that I am made of magic and that no one or anything can get me down ever.
Makes sense, makes sense. That's really powerful. I would say we'll get to the other tattoo when we break down the video because it's related. So, as usual, this is the part of the show where we get the creator, the guest to break down their own video. In this case, we have chosen, I generally pick the video, whichever video I think is like very skillfully sound and also one of my favorite videos on his channel. the biggest lesson I learned in therapy.
November 2024 marks 1 year since I completed 10 therapy sessions. It was one of the many steps I took in my healing journey towards becoming a better version of myself. Among all the lessons I learned, we've not gotten to the meat of the video yet, so I'm gonna just chime in. You can actually see a lot of sweat patches on my shirt. It was a very hot and humid day in Singapore, and yeah, when I went back home and I saw the footage, I was a little disappointed that sweat patches are very visible. Like, screw it, I've already shot it. It looks pretty good, sounds good, so just went ahead with it.
Yeah, I've seen that you shoot recently. At least you have been shooting a lot outside.
Yeah.
What made you do that?
There's no particular reason, but I do like filming slightly different stuff in every video. I don't want to have the same look in every single video, so I try to go to different places when I can. Obviously, there are some shots that will always be filmed indoors, but when I am outdoors, I try to look for locations that are either slightly related to the video or, it's mostly just nature stuff. So nature is also a place where I find a lot of peace.
Makes sense. The healing and nature goes hand in hand pretty well.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. And how? What about the people staring at you? Does it not happen in Singapore?
It does, definitely does. People looking at you when you have a camera out, and it's not just a phone camera, right?
It's a huge camera.
It's a huge camera with like lenses and everything. So
On a tripod.
on a tripod, and if I'm doing talking heads like this is actually shot with a teleprompter.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm good with my words. I will admit that, but I'm terrible at remembering my lines. So teleprompter is just a way for me to get my point across in a very smooth way. So yeah, the setup is huge when I am outdoors and I'm doing a talking head. So it definitely draws a lot of eyes. It helps that as a freelancer, I don't have a 9 to 5 job, so I can go at off-peak hours. After lunch on a weekday, where there's very little crowds in nature spots like this. It kind of works out.
And you're doing this completely alone?
Completely alone. There's hardly anyone who comes to help unless a friend of mine happens to be in the area and they are helping me with something. 99% of the time, I'm doing it all alone.
I almost never shoot outside unless there's someone with me.
That's fair.
But yeah, moving on.
One particular thing that really stuck with me. And today, I want to share that with you. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay, so one thing that goes against normal YouTube advice is the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You didn't cut once.
Yeah.
You, bro, what are you doing? You are supposed to cut once every 2 seconds, man. What are you doing? With slow music and stuff. Where are the beats?
So
Where did that come from? Like, is it inspired by anyone?
it's not inspired by anyone. I think we spoke about this as well. We've spoken about it a couple of times. The type of creators that you and I are, we are the type of creators who like to take things slowly. We, prefer having a more cinematic look towards our videos rather than having quick cuts, quick edits, sort of a visual. I know that the audience nowadays, especially with like low attention spans and everything, they like seeing stuff which is with quick edits. In the first 15-30 seconds, you must have, quick attention grabbing stuff. I do that sometimes, occasionally, if the video feels right. In this case, the video is about therapy. It's about a very calming sensation, calming video. So the whole idea is to like ease the audience into it. I like to think that the music I use can sometimes help in terms of that, in terms of building up the tension rather than through the visuals and through the cuts. So yeah, that's why sometimes breaking the rules in filmmaking is a good thing.
Definitely.
And I've also been trying to incorporate a little bit of humor into my videos. So I was addressing the elephant in the room quite literally.
That's nice. That's nice. I also watched this video.
Yeah.
It's playing behind. That's also a therapy session.
Yes, exactly.
What did you record this on? Is it like audio?
I believe it was the DJI mic.
Oh damn! Because I can see the fan behind you.
Yeah. My sessions happen in a very simple.
Is this actual?
No, it's not actual sunlight.
Please deconstruct.
So I think I had my Aperture 60X. It's a very small light.
Oh, that thing that has a fan behind it as
Yes,
well?
yes.
Got it.
So that was placed near the window. So there is window light coming in as well. So the lights that I used were just adding on to and supplementing.
Yeah, because this does not look like the contrast that I see. Probably not just window light.
Yeah. So there's definitely a light here. This I wouldn't say this is my best lighting ever. थोड़ा सा दिखता है कि there is a light there instead of it's coming outside from the window.
No, but I don't think a normal viewer will notice.
Yeah, I think a layman may not notice it at all. But yeah, so I kept like a chair on this side so that there's a little bit of cutting. This, I think cutting is happening through, there was a curtain there. And then I think this area was blocked by that chair so that it's not, the whole image is not littered with light.
Makes sense.
10 by 10 foot office. Very ordinary except for the beautiful sunlight that streamed in.
Fake sunlight. With limited savings, I informed my therapist about my financial constraints, and I still received.
This is my actual, not bank account, but this is my actual graduation gown.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Not the gown, the
green thing.
green thing. Yeah.
Got it. So I don't know if you paid attention, but Tejas here is a professionally a cinematographer,
Yeah.
not like us on YouTube. So please break it down. Why was there harsh light on your face?
Got it.
Why did you leave more than 1/3 of the frame
Got it.
dark? Please.
I love negative space. I think it really, it's a visually very striking image. And I think subconsciously, maybe since we spoke about the quick cuts and everything, instead of catching the viewer's attention that way, I want to capture the viewer's attention with the frames that I'm showing. So even though this is a static shot, immediately it draws your eye towards me. There is something sort of interesting happening on the right of the frame, but it immediately draws your eyes towards this.
Definitely.
And the yellow blue was sort of the contrast that I was going for. It was evening time, so it would have been a little brighter, but this is, I think, the third or fourth take for this particular shot. So that was the whole idea, draw the viewer's attention towards me. And the whole, like what I'm talking about in this part was like, I was low on finances and everything.
That's why there's no fill light.
That's why there's no fill light. It's a very harsh lighting setup. Even though this is shot on a softbox, it's placed slightly further away from me. So the harshness of the light is still achieved.
Got it.
Yeah.
Therapist about my financial constraints, and I still received help at a discounted rate. Think of therapy.
Fun fact, this was my 37th video in the Healing Energy.
That's why.
That's why there's $37.
At this point, when you said at a discounted rate, I thought, oh, maybe BetterHelp or some sponsor is coming.
I wish.
I was excited.
Therapy as exercise for your brain, helping you tap into repressed emotions and become more.
Did the light come on when you looked up?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
damn. So now you have someone helping you with this?
No. So again, this was shot alone. This was shot at home. So I have a 2 lighting setup now. So the 300C aperture Amaran is the one that's providing the purple light on the wall.
App controlled?
It's app controlled.
That's how you did it?
Yeah. So the purple light stayed consistent. That was mounted. This one was like a hair light sort of thing that I used with the smaller 60X light. And since, like you said, it's app controlled. So just out of frame is my hand on the app. And I knew that when I look up, that's when I want the ting effect to come. So I just hit it and the light comes back on.
Amazing. And all these things are done on...
That's all post. I actually wanted them to be the same goldenish color that my hair light is also producing.
but that wouldn't get as much contrast.
Fair, yeah. And I just didn't put that much of an effort into the VFX part.
Repressed emotions and become more self-aware. Just like physically fit people still go to the gym, even mentally stable people can use therapy for regular mental health check-in.
That's a very nice analogy. I've been to therapy, not been to therapy. I got like online therapy for 2-3 sessions. Very helpful, to be honest. I wouldn't say I wasn't struggling at that point, but within like 3 sessions I was feeling way better. And I have this, I don't know, growing up in rural India, I have this innate, not hate, like repulsion towards therapy. Like you go to therapy, you're like, oh fuck, something is wrong with
Something's
me.
wrong with you, yeah.
I don't want to feel that. So as soon as I started feeling a little better, I ditched therapy. Like, nahi, ab nahi jana hai. But in those 3 sessions, I got so much good insight about myself only. Ki they can give a third person perspective about a lot of things, my behavior patterns,
Definitely.
and how I can hack the behavior essentially.
Yep.
So those things helped a lot, really.
I would say that therapy is not a solution, it's just a guiding hand.
Yeah.
It just guides you into the right direction. At the end of the day, you still have to make the effort to become a better person.
Exactly.
2023 was a pretty shitty year for me. I only started to feel a positive.
So this is the same location as the starting visual that you saw. So this wall was the background in that. I was standing here.
Got it.
You know.
Towards the latter half of that year. And going to therapy was one of those reasons, even though it was initially a difficult
A
step.
difficult step.
Yeah. So like again, visually, audio-wise, trying to match it, like a difficult step to take, and then I literally take a step on a very crooked-looking staircase.
But it nudged me in the right direction, provided me with a listening ear.
Nice. Your visual cues are great.
Yeah.
Nudged me in the right direction. You're standing in front of that direction thingy. I don't know what it's called. That's great. Okay. One of the things I am noticing which is very pleasant is the color grading. So let's get a little bit technical. You edit in DaVinci?
Yes, I do.
DaVinci Resolve gang, all strong. Me and my homies hate Adobe.
I don't hate it. I just prefer DaVinci.
Yeah, same. I mean, I started with Adobe as well. I've used Adobe for 3 years. Then I switched to DaVinci. That's great. One thing I see that you are definitely tweaking the greens, right?
A little bit, yeah.
The trees are not this green.
Yeah. I do like to have a little bit of green in the image.
Healing,
Yeah, maybe, perhaps.
psychology.
I do prefer having that look. So sometimes the greens, like in the trees and all, they become a little bit more punchy. So they appear more saturated, more deeper green than what it actually is.
Got it. But one problem I face is ki if the leaves and the trees are a little yellowish, I try to fix them, the skin tone gets fucked again.
Right, yes.
But kudos to you for getting that very subtle look, but also keeping the other colors very natural.
Yep.
Like I generally in my videos, I go a little too stylistic. I push it a little too far. But this is very, very commendable in terms of color grading.
Thank you. This was also shot on my older camera. So this was on the A6500. So 8-bit, not 8-bit.
Ah, I see.
And-
That's not a full frame, right?
It's not a full frame, it's APS-C. Yeah.
And what lens are you shooting on here?
This was probably the 30mm 1.4 Sigma.
I can tell.
Yeah.
1.4 I can tell.
One major struggle I brought to therapy was handling big emotions, specifically the negative ones. Growing up,
This was shot right after I had a run. So the sweat that you see here is real sweat.
was known for having strong fits of rage, which involved slamming doors.
How are you planning this? Like, okay, let's get back to a little bit of pre-production.
Yep.
How do you take me like step by step from getting the idea
Okay.
to starting shooting the video or whenever the pre-production ends?
So usually I get an idea, maybe like a sentence or a certain phrase will come to mind. And then I try to expand on to that. I try to craft a story out of that. And so then I just write a script. Script is usually maybe around 1,000 to 1,500 words, which is around 10 minutes of footage. And then, just making sure refining the script and all. This is the only part of my entire filmmaking process where I use AI. I use GPT to refine the script a little bit so that it, basically what Grammarly used to do is what I use AI to do now.
Makes sense.
But everything like from creation of the idea to shooting the shots and everything, all of that is done by me. And so yeah, once the script is ready, once it's refined, that's when I decide to do a short list. So then I just read through the script, I see what visual goes I try to visualize what visual could be really good to use for a particular dialogue. So, like the steps thing that you saw earlier, that felt very appropriate. And usually I try to break off sections into talking heads when I'm talking to the camera and B rolls where it's just action happening. So the B rolls are usually the ones where I can get a B roll of something that I'm talking about, and talking heads are usually the ones where it's difficult to show a B roll of that.
Definitely.
So that's how I like decide which shot goes where. And then once the shot list is done, I separate them into locations. So maybe all the home stuff I'll shoot in one day, in one session. All the outdoor scenes I'll shoot in one go, even though they may be at different parts of the video. So that just helps with like the speed in which the process of how you're filming. You can get it done quickly. And that's pretty much it. And then some shots like this one that we've paused at right now, this is not a planned shot. This is just a random B-roll that I've taken when I went out to get my new light. That's literally the new light that I have just bought.
Got
and I'm keeping it in the car. So this was just, it was a cool location. It was a rooftop car park. There were no cars beside me. So I thought, yeah, let's just put my camera down, record this. And yeah, this was one of the shots where it doesn't line up perfectly with what I'm saying in the audio, but it's just a good enough good enough filler visual to add in the video.
Makes sense.
Do you storyboard?
No, not for YouTube videos. Unless it's something that unless it feels like a film, then I am not.
Was this one storyboarded?
This was not storyboarded.
So you write your shots? Like
I write my shots. Yeah. So it'll be like, let's say, for example, if this was planned, then it would be B-roll, exterior, me putting stuff in car. It'll be like this, and I'll pretty much understand like what I need to shoot.
Yeah, because it's just us working. We understand our language. Makes sense. Okay, let's continue.
One major struggle I brought to therapy was handling big emotions, specifically the negative ones. Growing up, I was often labeled as an angry young man. As a child, I was known for having strong.
Nice.
I tried to time it perfectly so that when I say angry young man, Amitabh's face comes in the background.
Have drastically dropped in my adulthood. Bad temper doesn't always take the form of loud and violent things anymore. It can come in the form of snarky and passive-aggressive comments. Maybe even the opposite, giving someone the silent treatment.
Sorry. So this is a top-down shot. And usually I try to like litter it with things related to what I'm speaking about and all of that. The only thing that really worked here was that pen holder thing.
Okay.
Jisme se scissor and that pen is coming out. And because I'd mentioned elephant in the room earlier, I chose another like elephant related prop. Just for a random throwback to what you saw in the start of the video. Yeah, that's it.
That's nice. It's great to see so much effort being put into every single shot, and that's the whole point of this series. Because if I was looking at it, I would have never understood. Okay, but we understand, like we in this show we understand, we appreciate the actual effort that has been put into everything. But yes, let's continue. What does snarky mean? I mean, I get the idea.
Snarky is like how do I explain it?
Why do you get these words?
I would say that a lot of the words that I know from the English language, I just know like how to use them in context. But if someone asks me define this word, I'll be
I mean, I can understand what snarky means.
It sounds like snarky.
yeah.
Yeah, because one thing I'm very impressed by is your vocabulary, terminology that it's not very outlandish. Like I need to look up a dictionary, but like it makes sense every time. But I also may understand. No, I have no clue this word existed.
Like anger, despair, and
Yeah. Here I was just trying to match the colors with the emotion. So anger was red, sadness was blue.
Yellow is not a negative.
Yellow, I mean, it can have its positive emotions as well. But can also be used for like anxiety.
not to defend myself, but many, if not all, of these passions.
I see. How did you get this effect?
So yeah, for this like I needed other people involved, and
Yeah,
it just
that's
happened to
about
be or the visual effects. So actually, this was shot in a club,
Okay.
and there were a lot of blinking lights happening,
Oh.
and the lights were flickering as well. So the camera captured a bit of like banding and all of that. So that was not looking good initially. So in DaVinci, I think there is a
Deflicker effect.
deflicker effect. So I applied that, and it sort of smoothened the image. That's why I think sometimes if you see the movement, you can see like the hand is here, but you'll see a ghost of that same hand to the side as well.
Got it. Got it.
So that's pretty much it, and a heavy vignette. I didn't want to show my friends' faces.
Yeah, that of course.
Nowadays, having developed a far higher tolerance.
Dude, I love the lighting over here.
Yeah,
Is your apartment this green or
Is that color grading?
No, we do have some accent walls that are dark green, which you can see on the right.
This one I understand.
Yeah.
The behind ceiling.
No, that's white.
Okay.
So again, this comes down to the color grade. I do prefer a more cooler tone than a warmer tone. So the blues and the greens tend to pop out a lot more, while retaining the skin colors. I believe this was also shot in the evening time, so naturally window se bhi thoda blue hour look was coming.
So if I do go all Hulk smash on you, then you probably caused it. Okay, jokes aside, my point is
did you wear the Marvel t-shirt?
Yeah, for the Hulk thing, and also the lighting in the background green.
I
Yeah.
understand. Nice.
that it's completely normal to have big and strong emotions. We're human, and to repress such natural feelings could actually be pernicious to our mental health. In fact, it's healthy to exude such powerful emotions from our body from time to time, instead of being forced to bottle.
Okay, break this down. What?
So over here, I'm basically talking about the story that I speak about here is about how with one of my ex-girlfriends, I told her that I was not a fan of how she laughed. She laughed weirdly, basically. That's what I told her, which was a very weird and wrong thing to tell someone. I was young, dumb, and broke at the time, so please do forgive me. But yeah, it was surrounded by that emotion, and again, I was trying to go for a very visually striking image. There is no cuts here for the next maybe 30-40 seconds for this entire duration.
Makes sense. A very
Maybe just a slow
raw
zoom in.
scene.
Yeah, it's a very raw scene. So visually, there's no like cutting, there's no heavy editing happening here. It's just me being vulnerable in front of the camera, talking directly to the camera, and accentuated very heavily with the red ring behind me, and it's just complete darkness. It just kind of shows the kind of mental state that I was in when I was processing what I told her at one point in my life.
Got it. What's that rectangle behind you?
Which one? This one?
No, that one behind your head.
Oh, so that's just it's just a poster hung on the wall.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Just because. Yeah, that's actually a thing that happened. For instance, I once told an ex many years ago that she laughed weirdly.
Nice
A
point
comment
to kick
I
in the
deeply
music.
Yeah.
regret. It was completely uncalled for and unfair on her because I tried to make her someone she was not. My actions disgust me to this day. Many people, like my old selves, love claiming the high ground by also stating things like, your anger reveals the true side of you, as if to say that being happy and exuberant is not a true side of a person. I think we're allowed to have
That's nice.
multiple
Okay.
shades of
So of course I am understanding things on a deeper level here, but of course for the people we are going to get into a little technicalities, because at the end of the day, the show is essentially for them to learn a lot of things from you, a few things from me as well. How do you choose music? How do you decide? That's probably one of the most recurring questions I get. How do you choose music?
I would say I have a very mixed approach to music. There are times when I listen to the music first and I feel like, wow, I can make a story out of this. There are other times when the script is ready, the idea is ready, and then just depending on the flow of how the video is going to feel like, that's when I deliberately then look for those types of songs that would fit the vibe. So this video, again, because it's a slow, kind of melancholic, a bit of sad vibe to it, it also has to be accentuated with those slow numbers as well. So only I think in the comedy elements of this video was there like a slightly upbeat sort of music, slightly funny music, but the rest of it is it's mellow, it's very calm, and invokes that emotion that I want to invoke in the viewer, just in case they are not able to get that through the visuals alone, or what I'm saying.
Or it just accentuates the whole
Yeah.
whatever you're speaking about. And okay, coming back to the question that you and I both get.
Yeah.
As you said, majority of the video is has a melancholic vibe.
Yeah.
And people often accuse us of being way too sad. Are you fine? Why are you making only sad videos? My understanding is ki unless we very strongly feel something, that's what art comes out from. Because in a very mundane day, there's nothing to share, honestly, nothing to pick up the camera about. And I think art is also a very genuine reflection of the person who's making it. So like I've been speaking to you for like 2 days now, and I noticed the similarities. We are both very calm in person. We're not the type who are very upbeat in as a person as well. So I think that makes sense for me. What's your take on this? Why are you always sad in your videos?
I would say that it was a very real depiction of what I was going through in life as well. I have been told as well that, or rather, it was implied that the videos that I make are just, I'm being motivational for the sake of being motivational. I'm not actually going through the stuff that I claim to say in my videos. That has been implied to me before, which I found a little offensive because I am my true self on YouTube. The videos that people see, that is probably one of the most vulnerable sides they will get to see with me or see of me. So the sad aspects that people always saw and always asked, like, are you okay? Are you going through something or whatever? Initially, yeah, I was actually not okay because I was going through a very tough period in my life, and I was just trying to find a creative outlet where I could express that emotion, that pain through art. And I think eventually, over the course of the next few videos, the sadness sort of remained, but the happy or the better emotions sort of increased. So I won't say that the sadness has gone down in my recent videos. I would just say that the happiness index has gone a little higher.
Definitely.
So now there's like a slightly healthy balance between the sad parts of the video and the funny parts of the video.
This is something that I have, like, I've not been very, I haven't had reasons to be very sad in last few years, thankfully. But I sometimes, when people say this, I would also feel this thing ki maybe as a creator, when you might get comfortable in creating a certain kind of videos, there is stuff to get out. So I would sometimes like deliberately challenge myself to make a fast cut montage or make a car edit in my videos. Do you think that's a thing that you can get at? I feel like I got comfortable doing sad slow videos.
For sure, 100%. I think that's my forte, but there are a lot of occasions where I feel like I think I want to make something fast-paced, something that's completely different from what I do. And I used to kind of do that through Instagram Reels, where I used to post slightly upbeat kind of videos. And even on platforms like Artlist, where I get my music from. Artlist, if you want to sponsor, please. But yeah, so like even on Artlist, when I'm like looking for songs and stuff, sometimes I will come across a song that's not useful for the video that I'm making, but it's a good enough song that I feel like I can use it. And those are usually the upbeat, more EDM style music. And I've realized that those music clips can very easily be used in short form content, which I like to create, which is different from the style that I create on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen your Instagram reels. I'll put a few up on the screen. You can see how good at guitar he is.
no one thing should or can define who we are.
So as you said, all these outdoor scenes are shot in one day.
Shot in one day, like literally within a span of 30 to 45 minutes, maybe.
Makes sense. I think that's where I waste the most amount of time.
Yeah.
Occasionally overreact, over exaggerate, and be dramatic. Sometimes that's just
It's also a hassle to carry the teleprompter and the tripod and camera and all of that. So I just say, you know what, I'm going out now. I'm going to do the mehnat for one day. That's it. Finish everything in that one day.
Makes sense.
how do we actually handle these emotions so that
And what time of day it is? It's the evening?
This was probably like around 5-ish p.m. And it was an overcast day. So it
I
looks,
don't see any harsh sunlight.
yeah, it was very, very soft lighting that day.
around us? Well, self care practices go a long way in helping to deal with these emotions. Journaling, exercising, finding a creative outlet, breathing and meditation practices, or just not giving a damn. These are all great, but something that I've not heard mentioned before, that one thing that my therapist taught me, God bless her soul, was this. To imagine whatever it is you are feeling and to put all of those emotions into an imaginary child. If it helps, close your eyes and visualize a kid in front of you. How would you, now an objective observer, help this child?
There was
In
a
this-
lot that went into planning for this particular sequence from the moment I do
Yeah.
that reveal. I would say I achieved about 60% of what I envisioned.
Okay.
And the remaining 40% was me trying to fix what I was not able to achieve during the shoot. So for that earlier shot where you see where I do this and that glowing light effect comes, that was achieved. So again, through the app that I had to do, but both my hands are in the shot. So how do I switch the light on? So I literally had, like, socks were off, phone was on the ground, and I just tried to tap it with my toe. And it wasn't working like half the time. I don't know, maybe like the toe is just not the right sensor to put on a phone screen.
Makes sense.
But like after a couple of takes, it worked, and then that light was passed through this like short stool dabba looking stool that I have, which has a hole in it, so you can like put your finger through it and you can easily carry the stool around. That's what the light is coming through that hole.
That's why it's circular. Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay. Got
And it created a sort of concentric effect because of how it was passing through that hole. That's why there were like a one dot and then there's a ring around it, which was kind of perfect for what I wanted. For this shot, it was not supposed to be black and white. For the rest of it, everything was supposed to be in color, and I was trying to go for a water ripple effect in the background, which if we play, you'll be able to see it's slightly shimmering just above the chair.
How do you do that? That reminds me of Blade Runner.
Yeah, that was a huge inspiration behind how I wanted to achieve this shot. So the idea was to have like a big bottle, or not bottle, a big like tray of water, and that water has to be constantly moving. The light has to come from below to create that sort of effect on the wall that you're seeing. So obviously putting a light below water is already unsafe, right? Because you need a rig to keep
Hold
the
the
tray, to keep the light and all of that. So it was a little unsafe. And how do I move the water since I'm in the shot?
Yeah.
Someone has to be there. But I shoot alone, so I had to find like jugaad ways to do it. So I have this like tiny, small like fan, which I kept beside a small tray of water, and that fan was switched on, and that was what created the ripples.
Oh.
So I wanted the ripples to be more irregular. In this case, it's the constant same wave pattern that you'll notice because the wind direction is coming in the same direction. So that's something that I had to compromise on. And the fan had a pretty loud motor, but I think I was able to mask it out fairly well during the talking stage. Yeah, the original image looks very pink, very red, and it was taking away from the effect of the importance of the chair, which is, talking to a child. That was also supposed to be a smaller miniature version of me, like a VFX version of me being young. But again, I'm not that much of an expert in VFX, so I ended up doing this very jugaad method of just keeping a photo of me. And yeah,
I mean, the fan jugaad is interesting. Engineer at heart.
yep, pretty much. Maybe up till that moment, you thought your feelings were invalidated. But now that you see that in the child, you feel empathy. You acknowledge that this child is clearly going through a very vivid experience.
Is there a teleprompter here?
Yeah.
How did
Did you remind?
Yes, this is
that's
a
what I was
teleprompter
thinking.
shot. There's no way I can remember that many lines in one go. This was also the probably fourth or fifth take that I did
Ah.
because on one occasion I forgot to put it on autofocus. It was on manual, so the pura shot was blurred. Then the other 2-3 shots, there was some audio issue. I missed a line. Some shit like that happened.
Patience and caution. You would
You
help
would help
ease
ease
them,
them,
calm them down.
Again, beautiful visual cues. You talk about caution and you're walking like very cautiously
Yeah.
full at times.
So you won't fight fire with fire, right? You would obviously. It was also about the timing of how slowly I'm walking.
So that you reach that point.
So I had reached
exactly
that point exactly, and yeah. For this child in front of you. Through this technique, you know.
Nice. Why the fuck did you keep so much extra space? But I understand.
Yeah.
You said something very profound. People need time to sit with that.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think it kind of aligns with with your video regarding the music.
Yeah.
You know, if you step away from music for a while, you will appreciate it even more.
Yep.
Which is, I think, why negative space or stepping away from something and really like being slow, being intentional with what you want to achieve goes a long way in for that effect to take place. Not only have an empathetic perspective, you also have a third person perspective of the situation at hand.
Break this down because this.
Yeah. I think we can mute this part and we can just let it play.
Okay.
So the reason I did that was because the light in the background is slowly going to change from red to blue. Because of what I'm saying, it's like I was referring to talking to the child and like experiencing that emotion, visualizing it in that child. And as you do it, your emotions will also calm down and reach a level where you're able to take a much more level-headed decision. So blue was the color I chose to indicate that, okay, it went from red to blue. And again, same as the previous shot, I had the phone in my hand and I was just slowly bringing the slider towards the blue.
Got it.
This was also probably a couple of takes that I needed to perfect the timing of moving that slider. I wish there was an auto setting like, okay, for 20
this
seconds go from this color to that color, but unfortunately that was not available. But for the curious minded, you can read up on compassion focused imagery. I'll leave some relevant articles in the description below for you to check out. I would encourage you to try this method the next time you feel a strong emotion. It's not easy to implement, especially in the heat of the moment. But with practice, it can get easier. You can actually see in my face that I'm looking very tired. This was like shot after like maybe 4-5 hours. I got at home, like home alone. I was home alone for a few hours. So I quickly shot everything that I needed to shoot. And this was like one of the last few shots of the day. You can see I'm sweaty, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've not even removed my lens and lens cap in the background over there. It's in the shot.
The state of the world right now seems quite precarious. Unfairness and suffering is widespread, and a lot of innocent and marginalized societies will be and are suffering.
That's a good wrap around. We were at a very similar location, zooming in at the start.
Yeah.
Now we're winding back at the same.
The least you and I can do is to spread some healing energy and perhaps spark a little hope in the lives of the people around us. I'm not in therapy right now, but I think I might pick it up again soon. It definitely added a sense of stability into my routine, which I really found beneficial. I hope this video was useful to you. I am planning to make at least one more therapy-inspired video before the year ends. So Stick around, get subscribed, and I wish you a wonderful day. See ya the next one.
Again, with the music, it's like it sort of ends with a hopeful look towards the future.
But beautiful video, man. Beautiful video, honestly. I think here in the show we talked more about the technical stuff a lot, about videography, composition, and everything. But I think you should definitely rewatch this video for what he was talking about. We did not pay much attention to that, but definitely amazing message, new perspective. You should definitely go back and watch it. That was the part where we get the video breakdown. Now is a part where we focus more towards giving as much value to our viewers. So I would generally ask people how to get started being a content creator and everything. But because you have a film school background, I would also want to understand, because this is a real situation. Okay, the intern that I have, he is confused between whether he should go do a design degree or he should go into film school
Okay.
in India only. But yeah, do you? I mean, already I have asked this question about how worth it is, and he also has the third option of not going to college. What do you think? He's 17, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if he's 17, definitely go for it. Like, go for one of the options of one of the schools. I think he's still young enough to get the right exposure that he would need for his career going forward. Whether it's design or film school, that really depends on what he likes and what he wants for himself. What does he do exactly? Is he like a graphics designer?
He's a video editor.
Video editor. I'm not sure. I can't speak for a design school because I've never been in one and I don't know anyone who has been. But for film school, I would say that there is a lot of exposure to different types of people. And not just different types of people, different types of different aspects of filmmaking as well. So I specialize in cinematography, but in majority of my projects, I was collaborating with direction students, editing students, VFX students, sound students. So even though he might be an editor now, even though he's thinking of design as that one of his aspects, going to film school might just open his eyes to, oh, maybe I might like this as well, or maybe I might like that as well. And I'm not sure if that is something that a design school might provide.
Makes sense. No, it doesn't. मेरे college में there was design degrees as well. People are doing. So I had a really big fascination towards anything related to art. So I would be looking at the curriculum, seeing their courses and all of those things. So I understand it. It does not give you other aspects, of course, definitely. Okay, so because of course we majority of the guests that I have lined up for this show were all YouTubers who came up as engineers in general. If someone wants to, because you had that option, if someone wants to get into traditional film, traditional media, is it only possible through film school?
No, not at all.
How does one get there other than Mumbai? Is it possible without going to Mumbai?
I would say everything is possible. You just need the right contacts. So regardless of whether you go to film school, regardless of whether you go to Mumbai or any other big hub for filmmaking wherever in the world, as long as you have contacts, you can enter the industry in any way possible.
Makes sense.
So there were some Nepo kids in my batch. They have gotten access to film sets immediately after graduation, while a lot of the rest of us have struggled to even enter. Even though there's a huge pool of creators just like us, it's still difficult to enter the industry. It's easy enough to assist someone initially and then rise up the ranks and be the traditional filmmaker that you want to be. It was not really the vision that I wanted for myself. I wanted to create my own art, which is why I started YouTube. But for those who want to pursue traditional careers, film school is not an answer. Going to Mumbai is not an answer. The only answer is you need to know people. And being in Mumbai, being in a film school, can only help in achieving those things better. You will definitely be exposed to so many more people, and you'll definitely be exposed to other like-minded individuals who can then get you in to the industry that you want.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, at this point, I would like to pull up a tweet
Okay.
that I read like a few days back. Ruko. You know Dan Koe? He put up a community post. It's probably from his tweet only. Because social media, at least in India, is growing at a very rapid pace. More creators are coming in. A lot of smaller creators are emerging right now. I see a lot of kids who are 15 to 18, 20 years old. They are idealizing the YouTuber lifestyle, the social media creator lifestyle. And so the question that I had is sort of answered by Dan Koe. I want to get your perspective as well. So this is what Dan Koe says. Most people think their dream is to become a YouTuber when that's just their soul begging them to create something, anything, and share it with the world. Because happiness stems from the intersection of a challenge and connection to something greater than yourself. What do you think?
Pretty powerful words, I must say. I think I do largely agree to that. YouTube, I think, is just a platform. It's a launching platform. I don't think YouTube is the end goal for a lot of people. Even for me, even though it's my current goal in life to be big on YouTube or to continue to create on YouTube because I get to do what I want to do, I think eventually the goal is to still create bigger, better movies that are not just limited to 8-9 minutes long videos.
Definitely.
Something that can reach more audiences, not necessarily commercial films, but something that can appeal to more people than a platform like YouTube would. So I definitely agree with that statement that he made. I like to look at it as a launching platform and not as the end destination. It could be for some, but I think for a lot of people, including myself, it's just a stepping stone towards something even bigger.
Makes sense, makes sense. And I also agree that to that fact ki as human beings, as we grow up as well, and also how the time has progressed, we have severely stopped creating things because we are always consuming something or the other. We have stopped making drawings, singing songs, even like as a norm. Right. So I think that's a huge problem that can be solved with creation. And just because you want to create something, it doesn't mean you are looking for followers. It doesn't mean you have to become a YouTuber. Right. It doesn't have to be that. So I think that's a very tricky and important question everyone should ask. Anyone who's watching who feels like they want to be a YouTuber just because I or someone you look up to is an YouTuber, it does not mean that is exactly what you want to do in life. You don't know the whole picture because you only see our art form, right? You don't know how we live, you don't know our circumstances. So that's something a very good question to ask. And I don't think it's a question that you can answer directly. Aisa. You have to try it out and find out for yourself.
I think YouTube is also a platform where a lot of different art forms come together and then it produces that one video.
Yeah.
Because there's cinematography involved, there's sound involved, there's editing, music, VFX, if any, if you are using. There's a lot of different skill sets that come into one output. And I think the allure to doing YouTube is that you get exposure to doing all these different things and then you can figure out, oh, I think I like doing this a little better. I think I like doing this better instead. And then you can focus and hone in on that one particular skill or those two particular skills out of maybe 5 or 6.
Definitely. Okay, so we are at the last stage of our show. The last question that we ask is something that is a cheat code for us to make very controversial thumbnails.
Okay.
Is what is one unpopular opinion, hot take you have for social media, creator economy, or video editing in general, or content creation in general?
One hot take.
You can give me more, I don't mind. More thumbnails. I have to make 3 thumbnails.
I need to think of one at least.
Take your time.
I think maybe YouTube India, since you pointed it out. Yeah, we spoke about this earlier as well. We've spoken about this a few times. I think YouTube India is not at the stage yet where it's being recognized globally. I think Bollywood has achieved that status, but it has also achieved that status in a way that everyone in the world knows Bollywood films means there's going to be music. There's going to be a dance number or two. There's going to be some dancing around the trees, all those cringe steps and all. I don't think on YouTube, people think of like Indian YouTubers and then think of creators like you and I.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's something that it's not really a hot take, but like, or maybe it is. Maybe calling ourselves the pioneers of this genre of YouTube in India, it could be a hot take. Like, we are the ones who are starting this. Not at all to sound like I'm boasting or anything, but it is a sad truth that there are very few creators who are on the level that we are in terms of the quality of our videos or art in general. And that is something I would love to see more of in the future. And maybe with me shifting to India could help with that, because I am hoping to collaborate a lot more with a lot more artists.
Yes.
And I think in the initial stage, I'll meet a lot of influencers, very, again, not to insult them, but surface level creators who don't really dive deeply into the art the way I do, the way you do. But I think if you don't go through those creators first, you won't meet the ones that you want to
Makes sense.
achieve.
Or you can contact me. I have contacts.
All links are down below.
Yeah, I think that makes a very good segregation between content and art.
Yeah, definitely.
Content is anything that can be consumed.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's also something you might have noticed about me. I hardly call it content or content creation. I always say my art or your art, or like, oh, this person is creating this thing. It's not really about content, because I feel like there's this negative connotation that has been achieved everywhere, that content creation just means I have my phone out, I'm gonna pout, I'm gonna do some influencer shit, there's nothing wrong in that.
Yeah,
There is a field, there is a time and space to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understandable. So, hoping that this episode comes out relatively not too late, probably in the next 7 days. So, one thing Tejas has been talking about is not Tejas has been talking about. I have been picking his brain about this. Ki, bro, your videos are so good. How come they never hit 1,000 views? I think I can see one video that is currently at 945.
Just need 55 more.
Yes. I hope 55 people are watching. If we cannot do this, I'm shutting this show down. No episode 3, never coming back. Please be more responsible with the content that you watch. Please go and subscribe. I mean, more than subscribe, I want you to watch a few videos of him. I'm not asking you to subscribe. Go experience what this, I wouldn't even say watch his videos. Experience his videos with good sound quality, and you will do the rest. All right. Thanks a lot, Tejas.
Thank you for having me. This was a lovely conversation.
Same here. And I hope this show can reach much greater heights, and we can have you at a much higher number someday after we have blown up. Don't forget us. We'll get back to this again on episode number, I don't know, 20, 25
Something,
maybe.
yeah.
That can work. And as we have, I think we have already implied that you are moving to India in a few months. So more videos on each of our channels with more collaborations. We'll definitely be putting our brains together to make something that you guys might want to watch. And yeah, that is the end of episode 2. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any suggestions about how we can make this show better, make this show interesting, let us know. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a nice day.